They'll probably find me.
So these highlighted areas, still
Anybody interested in real estate, really?
these highlighted areas are the ones you're focused on?
Yeah. Yeah. So like what I was saying is, here's Youngstown, the downtown, and then Bella Vista. You have Whitcliffe
West
Circle, Brownlee Woods. Struthers is pretty good for the margins, and then I'm learning about going into Boardman. Some of them still have the Youngstown address, but these are really good for rentals too.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get them kind of in low 20s and the teens, you can be getting high $600, $700 in rent out there.
Yeah.
I tried. I have one on Avondale on the south side, and Judson, unfortunately, but I'm learning that's not the best area, so I'm kind of staying away from the south side and focusing kind of everything that kind of butts up against the Youngstown School District is kind of seems like a good area. So this right here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've learned. What about you guys? That's
Well, by the way, I'm not in favor of this photographing,
Okay.
because I don't have any idea how you're going to use it. I mean, I know what you've said.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary, do you? It's up to you guys.
No, it doesn't really matter to me.
Well, I have a brother in Dallas and a brother in Atlanta that are my business partners, and that's how they're going to be able to see what we're doing. There's really no other way. I mean, unless they're
What are they doing down there? Are they buying in on the properties
yeah,
also?
they're my business partners. One's an engineer in Dallas, and the other one's in the Army in Atlanta.
Because we got SCORE down there too, that they were doing it.
Yeah, we're a national organization.
Yeah, I mentioned that to him. So, I guess they could do the same thing down there too.
Well, just focus on yourself as long as
Yeah, it's
you're more
on
comfortable
me.
with that junk. Yeah. So
I
these
guess
are the areas.
They'll be able to hear you guys.
Is that price range is the primary concern there or factor?
Yeah, so I've been able to get properties like in the in the teens here, like 13,000,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to get rent for $600, $700, dollars, and that's a really good investor margin there because you can make your money back in
Sure.
2 years or a little over, if you don't have any vacancies and
If they
stuff.
pay you.
Right, if you don't have any vacancies. So I have a couple Section 8 out there, but going down here to Brownlee Woods, the margins are a little higher, but the houses are in better
More
shape.
expensive, yeah.
Yeah, they're in better shape, so you kind of have to, you can charge rent a little more too. So you kind of put all that in the factor.
How many do you own?
I own 5. I sold one, and I got schooled by one of my mentors because he sold it to an out-of-state investor. So now that I know that I can utilize that as well and use that as another.
What's the out-of-state investor's name? Franco?
No, I can use that. I can use that as a another business aspect. So instead of I have a couple of different exit strategies. One's buying them and holding them. One's selling them to my other people in my network here in Youngstown that are investors, and then selling to out-of-state investors, as well as being a private money lender as well for people that have deals going on too.
So just to back up for a moment, how long have you been doing this?
1 year.
1 year? And did you put any kind of a business plan together initially to kind of get it organized or get started?
Not really on paper, but just between my brothers and I, just kind of learning and messing up, but having success along the way too. But
Yeah.
You're not borrowing money?
no, we put our money together.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean it's been working pretty well. But I think if we have an actual business plan, we could speed things up.
So, I don't know, I put some materials here for you if you want to spend some time going through this, but this will actually walk you through the creation of a business plan. From setting your goals and outlining the purpose of the business and all that sort of thing, to thinking about what all your expenses are, setting up a spreadsheet, making sure that you've got, you've accounted for all the cash flow issues and that sort of thing, and then kind of doing a forecast of where you're going to go and what you want to do and what it's going to cost and hopefully what the profit's going to be at the end of the day.
Okay.
Where are the 5 houses you have now?
There's 2 here in Bella Vista, Rhoda and Brockway. If you guys are familiar.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the west side. I grew up
One's
in
in.
Surrey.
Okay, cool. One's in East Avondale, It's a good little house on the south side. We lucked out on that one.
Is it on the east side of the tracks or towards?
Yeah, it's on the
Market
east
Street?
side of, what is it, South Avenue?
Yeah.
South
Is the good
Southern
part.
Boulevard, yeah.
Yeah, that, so it's. a
South
good-
Avenue, and, well, yeah. Oh, the east side of South Avenue? So you're down
In the
towards
Struthers?
Struthers.
Well, it's,
That's all right. It's,
yeah, it's like in this area. It's on the good side. I think if you're on the east side of, I don't know, Market Street or something,
It's a changing
Yeah.
area.
it's the better side. But
right.
Transition.
yeah, so I have like two of them here and two here, and another one there. But I'm focusing more on these areas now. Now that I know more information.
Did you do a market analysis of this area? Or how did you pick out the areas you wanted to?
Talking to mentors, talking to people that are succeeding doing
Mhm.
this.
Okay.
That's what they do, and that's what they suggested I do. And just driving around in these different areas, I've noticed definitely the houses are in a lot better shape.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe pay a little more
Mm-hmm.
and get a little more rent, and that's probably
Okay.
good for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're doing.
Okay. So you've done your research on that. There's a lot of resources available over at the main library, by the way, and we have a research librarian who's a member of SCORE, who we can go sit and talk to them about this, and he can point you to the right resources to do the background work, if you will.
Okay.
You don't have to get in the car, you can actually sit there at the computer and he can pretty much tell you everything about those areas.
Yeah, I
Real
mean,
estate and taxes and all that jazz, so.
yeah, I know the 31st is you either get an appeal, because if the houses that you bought, you can get the tax value lowered.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna do that. Just I do bandit signs, direct mail, newspaper advertising.
Mhm.
Facebook, YouTube. My generation that does all
Mhm.
that.
Who's your audience for rentals? Who's your target market?
A lot of them are elderly people. Two of them that I bought here were, elderly people. One lady was moving to Texas. One lady was retiring.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to get rid of the houses. The houses are in very good shape, so that was good. But yeah, mostly
Those are the people you buy from. I mean, who are the people you rent to?
Section 8 or it's usually like single parents. Honestly, I think so far. I mean, I only have 5 houses, but that's kind of what I've seen so far.
Yeah.
So it's mostly like people that are 50 and above are selling to me, and then I guess people in their 40s and 50s that are renting from me,
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Okay.
That's what I've noticed so far. What about you guys in your experience?
Well, I'd say, first of all, I mean, it's, in terms of that aspect, one of the things you probably want to do is sit down and put together a marketing plan. And a marketing plan will force you to take a look at who your target market is in terms of, well, in your case, both the acquiring and then the rental market. And then how do you go after the acquiring? I mean, obviously, social media is not a good way to go after older people who are trying to sell their homes because they're not on social media.
Right.
But the people that you're targeting for rentals, that's probably a good way to go. And then, when you put together a marketing plan, you can think about what aspects of the plan are most appropriate for how you want to get the group that you're going after.
Yeah, a lot of the older people call my signs, my little bandit signs I put on the side of the road by like a stop sign. And then a lot of the renters, are like Zillow, things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I document everything, everybody that calls me, male, female, their age,
Yeah.
how they found me.
Yeah.
So I
That's
document
good.
all that on an Excel spreadsheet and kind of see
Mhm.
which marketing platform is best,
Mm-hmm.
useful. So
Okay.
yeah.
Your brothers are just passive investors? Or
No, Isaac's the accountant, and Josh is the marketing lead. But we all have different jobs. We have a primary and a secondary for each of the jobs. But I'm kind of the guy on the ground here, in charge of everything, kind of operations. So I'm in charge of rehabbing, construction, operations, and then Isaac is like secondary with all that. Then I'm secondary with marketing. Josh is main marketing guy.
where does Isaac, who's where?
Josh is older than me. I'm 28. Josh is like 31. He's in Dallas, engineer there. Then Isaac's 26 and he's in Atlanta. Like Fort Benning, it's like south of Atlanta, but same thing.
So, I mean, you're running the show essentially. They can help from afar.
Right, I'm kind of like the managing partner, CEO, essentially, and kind of in name only. But yeah, I mean, I call them up. Hey, I got a couple leads. What do you guys think? Here are the pictures. Here are the margins. Make a decision, yay or nay, and go from there.
How do you do the rehabbing?
I have some mentors that are in construction, and I've gotten subs from them. But also I do a little marketing to find other people too to get good reviews.
You don't try to do it all yourself?
No, because I was living in DC, so I was doing all this kind of virtually. But now that I'm back, I can do a little bit of work, a little painting, little carpet or whatever to make things cheaper and go a little quicker. But essentially you want to have these guys be doing several houses at once,
Right.
and I'm kind of overseeing it. But I gotta get my hands dirty a little bit. So that's what we're doing right now.
No, that's good. That's a good way to approach it. If you're doing it all yourself, obviously your capacity is limited. You're not
Right.
going to be able to expand or grow.
Because you want to work in your business and then work out of it and kind of have other people working for you, obviously.
What's your target for the next year as far as number of houses?
We wanted to get 20 rental properties. So we have, we had 6 and we sold 1. But now that we have another kind of market selling to out-of-state investors, that kind of opened it up a little bit, changed it a little bit. But so essentially 15 more now that we have 5 for this year. I have 2 good leads that we'll probably close on.
So did it take you a year to get to 5? initially?
Yeah, for 2016, yeah.
So that's a pretty aggressive growth goal.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
we're
100%
still
yeah.
like dabbling and didn't know what we were doing
Mm-hmm.
for the first year too. But now that we know what we're doing, you can really funnel
Mhm.
this stuff pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, one of the things we strongly recommend to anyone starting out like yourself and your brothers are to sit down and put a business plan together, because it kind of forces you to walk through thinking about all the various aspects of the business and what it's going to take to get to 20 houses and what's going to take expense wise and all the other resources that go into that, and then how are you going to market, how are you going to sell them, or rent them in your case. So
Right.
you need to spend some time probably doing that, and that guide there will walk you through that whole process. And then the other one is also a guide that I think that's the one for people who are already in business or working and want to start a business. So, and if your brother's an accountant, this should be old school to him. So, yeah.
Are you incorporated?
What is it, LLC?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's the name of your business?
Heartland Property Group, but I'm kind of thinking of, because I was in Boston the other week, and this guy was telling me, his properties are obviously a lot more expensive, but he has an LLC for each property that he has. So if he gets sued with one, they can only take from that one house, I guess. So I'm kind of thinking, since our margins are a little cheaper here, to have maybe 5 properties under one LLC and just keep doing that, because I think it's $90.
Yeah.
I'd rather spend $90 than lose thousands of dollars if someone sues me. But you're protected with this LLC, but limited
Do
obviously.
you have business insurance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have insurance on each house, and then have business insurance for the actual company. So if
Right.
something happens at one house, that can kind of be as an umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking of another umbrella is having different LLCs too with
Yeah, I mean,
a few houses. Wouldn't hurt, right?
guess it wouldn't hurt. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes it. You're gonna have to have marketing materials and everything for each LLC, because they're all different, obviously.
No, I wouldn't do that. I would just have it as Heartland Property Group and just have that as a brand. I don't want to.
Oh,
You don't
you're
wanna-
saying when you acquire the properties, put it under the other umbrella, the other LLC.
Yeah, Bugs Bunny LLC.
Yeah, right.
Nobody needs to know.
Yeah, right.
Just Heartland Property Group is the name, and stay with them.
Do you have a federal ID?
What, a EIN?
Yeah,
Yeah. You have to
Yeah,
do
you
that
have
when you
to.
get your articles of
Right.
the business and everything.
right.
So, what do you guys recommend? I know I got the business plan, put our goals, expectations, SWOT analysis. I got that. I mean, what do you kind of see? Finding other contractors, finding other mentors in the area. Like, what else could I do to continue to grow this?
At what point do you run out of cash? How much do you need? How many houses can you buy without borrowing money?
Right, so that's the thing. Obviously, you want to get into commercial essentially, but we want to have, you know, keep putting our money together, getting these houses, but then these houses with the rent, you know, are going to buy the next house essentially. So the business can kind of stand alone. We're getting there, pretty close,
So
but
you want organic growth, no debt.
right, essentially until we get into commercial with apartments and stuff, that's when we'll have to
So have you
acquire
done,
debt.
have you done a cash flow analysis to determine how much cash you need coming in from your existing rental properties to move you to the next one or the next two or three?
We did, but it changed because I think my brother didn't account for a few things.
Yeah, and you always have to have a
So-
contingency there too, because, you know, what if somebody breaks the lease or whatever, and then you have to go after them, and now all of a sudden you don't have that money coming in, so, yeah.
Right, I think it was either insurance or property management he wasn't accounting for, but
Mhm.
we'll just have to adjust it a little bit. It'll just take a little longer than, you know, 2.5 years, whatever it was,
Mhm.
sort of.
There's a template in that guide there, and you can go on our website, score.org. We got templates for just about everything. Then pull that down, and that'll help you kind of maybe get that organized.
Okay.
Do that forecast that we're talking about. So if you want to get to 5 or 10 homes from 5, you know, what's it gonna take cash flow wise to do that, and what are all the resource requirements, and et cetera, you know, and then you can kind of lay it out.
Okay. For cash flow.
Yeah.
So there's different charts and stuff.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and sort of, okay.
Yep.
It's score.org.
Scored on it. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
.com is somebody else totally.
Did I say score.com?
No, but he did.
Oh, okay.
People hear,
Yeah.
you said .org.
Yeah,
Heard.
yeah. So, it's actually in those guides there, so.
Yeah, so I mean, we have, you know, different company responsibilities, marketing, acquisitions, financing, project manager, sales manager, accounting.
Mind me asking, what did you do in the Army?
I was an intel officer.
Okay.
I'm actually still in the Army. I'm in the reserves now.
Okay.
So I'm doing this, the Army, and
4 years or?
no, I actually had to do 6 years in the reserves, and I think that's till
No,
2018.
I meant initially, you did, how much active duty?
Just 2 years
2 years?
in Afghanistan.
Okay.
It's a little different. I'm an officer, so I'm not enlisted. Enlisted kind of works like that. Officer,
No.
you get commission, and
Right.
they give you like a block of
Right.
time.
Right.
Enlisted's a little different,
Mhm.
but yeah. I have what's 2017, so I have like another year and a half.
No, I was more interested in what you did in the service, and how does that apply to what you're doing now?
You know, leading guys, leading small groups, teams, getting goals done, working with diverse people of
Mhm.
every background and race.
Yeah.
That's what you're dealing with, these contractors
Yeah.
and these tenants and property managers. Everybody's got an agenda,
Sure.
and you got to kick people in the pants here and there. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you know, it's a lot of people can kind of cave and give in to these guys. You know, they'll give you any excuse for not paying or whatever. But okay,
Is this your work structure?
what's that?
Is that your organizational structure?
Yeah, somewhat. There's a couple different branches there, but that we don't utilize. But that's how it is for the most part.
You don't anticipate needing to go to a bank or anything for your cash up front? You guys have enough money together collectively to,
Yeah, right now we have
Obtain
enough money
finances.
collectively for what we're doing, but you know, I'm getting a relationship with some of the local banks
They will be,
for loans in the future.
they'll be insisting on a business plan.
yeah,
You
Oh.
can't get away from that as far as I know.
If we wanted to get a loan, yeah.
yeah,
And kind of a track record and everything.
right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, they want obviously collateral, but
Yeah. Can you
the
afford
business
to pay
plan
it?
they'll want to see. They want to see something like what is outlined in that guide there for you to
Okay.
basically to show that you've got sound financial plans in place and that you're anticipating growing the business and what the cash flow is going to be, and obviously you're going to be able to meet your debt requirements and all that. So,
So what do you guys recommend before I go to a bank? You know, have cash flow, a business plan? What other documents?
Well, the other thing, the 5 houses you have now are free and clear, right?
Right. Those are all cash.
So, I mean, one of the things that I want, some kind of protection or some kind of asset.
How are you gonna pay it back?
Yeah, that's cash flow, but they're gonna want also
Thanks.
a lien on the current houses or guarantee they're not gonna loan you money with, or your own personal balance sheets.
Right.
Your two partners have a job, right? Both of them?
Right.
And you don't.
No, he's
Somewhat.
doing this.
Somewhat. But,
But that's what they look at, your ability to pay it back.
right, but once you
In
get
case
in,
this flops.
once you get into commercial though, you don't need to show them a W-2. Right?
It depends.
I was gonna
Depends what
say,
kind of assets you have.
why not?
What the net value of they're gonna look at the net book value of your business.
Mm-hmm.
If not, they're gonna go to you individually, you're gonna sign a loan, all three of you, for any substantial loan.
Well, I mean, you guys know as well as I do, once you guys start getting into commercial, everything's very, very creative. So, I mean, you try to stay away from banks as much as possible, actually. So, I mean, you know, there's different owner finance, seller finance. I mean, do you guys own commercial property?
No, I don't.
You know,
I know,
Okay, where's it on?
yeah. Yardson,
Thanks.
environment, suburbs.
Is it like office buildings or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's some of them.
But, yeah, so, I mean, there's different ways to acquire financing, absolutely. But I mean, still, having a sound business plan is always a fundamental need or requirement.
Right,
So,
conventionally is, you know, getting a loan from a bank, but Donald Trump's Donald Trump because he was creative.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you gotta continue to fight and find different ways to be unique, so that's how you win.
That's true, that's true. I'm not quite sure what you're looking for right now, Joel. I mean, you've got a pretty sound structure put in place here, and you've got the money that gets you started, and you're up and running and all that. I'd say just you focus on your growth goals and how you're gonna get there and what's gonna require, and then take it from there.
So it's really just getting it on paper. It's all up here, but
Yeah,
I just need to kind of get it on paper, and
Sounds
probably things will develop too.
It
I
looks
don't even know.
differently when you get it on paper sometimes.
Right, and other people read it and look at it.
Mhm. Yeah, let somebody
I might
critique it.
suggest you take that, do your own business plan guide, go through it, then come back and let us look at it, what you did, and see if we can give you some suggestions to finalize it before you.
Right.
are you
Okay.
doing monthly P&Ls or anything like that? Profit and loss statements?
Yeah, that is one thing that my property manager does. Something like this. I don't know if it shows losses, but it just kind of shows what the monthly income was, I guess.
So, those are all expenses there.
Are you doing anticipated or actual on the collections?
That right there is like actual, like, so when I bought it, like what the rehab costs were, what the actual purchase price was, but, yeah, I do
This is
need to do
expense summary.
what you were saying. You said the actual and the anticipated? Okay.
That's an expense summary there. I
Okay.
was thinking more along the lines of, okay, I mean, a P&L, you start with the profit or your sales across the top, what you got coming in each month, then all the expenses, what you got going out. A lot of that obviously is probably depreciate that expense, right, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
So it's most of that's improvements on the properties, meaning you can spread the expense out over a period of time. I don't know what the deal is with homes, but it's gotta be at least probably 5 years. And your brother, if he's an accountant, will know that. And then, so then you take a portion of that, if it's 5 years, you take a fifth of it each year.
He's not actually an
Fine.
accountant, he's a mechanical engineer, but he's our accountant, but he's learning.
Okay, oh,
So-
okay.
So I'd have to actually tell him, so,
So.
You can spread- what exactly does that
Depreciation
mean?
expense, if it's, you can take.
What it means is if you go buy a house today, you
Mhm.
spend $20,000, you say that house is gonna have a 10-year life. So you do a profit and loss, which is, profit is what the income tax is based on.
Mhm.
So by depreciating it, you only charge 1/10 of it this year, 1/10 of it next year over the life, as opposed to, you're gonna have a big loss if you put it all in this year.
Okay, you can spread it out.
So it's an expense, but you,
So that's something to bring up with our actual accountant
Yes.
Yeah.
to see what
Oh,
they
yeah.
suggest.
if you have an accountant,
They're very valuable.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, those are the kind of things that I'm kind of here for.
All right, so this one, these are months. And expenses.
your profit and loss statement is essentially
Yeah, so.
revenue minus expenses equal profit or
Yeah.
loss.
So. So your revenue is your sales or what you got coming in each month, you know, so for, let's just say you get $5,000 coming in a month from your properties, okay? And then all your expenses are,
Okay.
you know, give me something here, like, give me some expense categories. Jim.
Electric,
Electric,
or
yeah,
utilities.
utilities.
Office.
Insurance.
I got insurance, yeah, but you get the idea, all your expenses, the things that you got, the money that's going out each month covered. And then you've got those expenses there that are part of your, improvements to the property, or capital improvements. So you take all that along with, you know, what you paid for the house, and that's depreciation expense.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't write too well. This board's a little shaky. So you've got each of those, so let's say you got $500 a month going out on that, and utilities, you got $500 a month, you know. And depreciation expense, let's say it's $1,000, just arbitrarily. You know, so you got $1,600 a month in this example going out in expenses. You got $5,000 a month coming in, okay? So you got, what, $3,400 profit in that particular month, okay? That's your either profit or your loss. So you gotta really focus on these things and what it's gonna take to what money you have flowing out each month to cover your expenses on the property against what you've got coming in for your sales, and that's a profit and loss statement fundamentally.
you
And
wanna
then,
put your
you know,
own, you wanna put your own salary in there.
Yeah, right.
You want it to be a loss, because you're gonna pay taxes on it if it's profit. So as you're growing, you want cash flow to be a loss, but you want the profit and loss statement to be loss. So the depreciation after you buy the house, the depreciation is a non-cash item,
Okay.
because you already bought the house. But you don't want to expense it all in 1 month, and you got a big
Let's spread it
loss
out.
in 1 month. Especially as you start buying more houses, it's more critical that you're depreciating them over the life.
What about like capital gains? So like you sell a house, you get capital gains on it. If you don't use a 1031 exchange, what happens with that profit?
Goes in when you sell it and when you recognize the capital gains.
That's part of your income.
But
for the
you're
following.
deferring, you're pushing out
Okay.
the income as far as you can.
Right.
Income tax management is essentially,
Income tax. Okay.
you're gonna pay income tax, so if you can use depreciation, which is a non-cash item, to push the income tax out, make it a loss or break even. And then when you sell it, you have a gain, but the gain's 5 years from now, not now.
Right.
Paying taxes in 5 years, not paying taxes today.
But that's where you need the accountant to push it
Yes.
for that. Okay. Yeah, that's
But
why.
you could do a basic P&L statement, run it out for a year, and then you can do a forecast, take that and use that as your forecast for, all right, if I add 3 more properties in this period of time, what's the expense, what's the outflow to add those properties, what am I gonna get in return? And you're not gonna, obviously, you won't get the revenue back in until you rent the properties out. So you need to kind of play around with those numbers, and if you're familiar with Excel, it's a really easy thing to do on Excel. You know,
Yeah, put a few formulas in there. And,
yeah, put a few formulas in there, and then you keep, you know, and you grab a couple of those factors or those things you want to consider, and you just plug those numbers in, and it blows it out through the formulas across the period of time that you're looking at.
right.
So, yeah. So that's a real good way to sit down and kind of forecast out. How do I get to the next 5 houses? How do I get to my 20 houses by the end of the year? What's it gonna cost me to do that? What am I gonna have coming in to cover those expenses? And you're probably, as Joe said, you're probably gonna have a loss to start with.
You can show all that, then the banks are more inclined to give you the money.
Right, if you have all those charts.
Yeah.
Okay.
But even forgetting the banks for a moment, then you've got a real good handle on what is it gonna require for me resource-wise, expense-wise, everything else to get those properties, to rent them out, and to get the money coming in. And how long do I think that's gonna take me to do?
Okay.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I was in
maybe if
trucking.
I had like lists of charts that I need, that'd be really good.
Go to our website. Go to our score.org, and you can pull down the templates to do that kind of thing. In fact, I pulled this, you can have this. I thought, we've got a client coming in to talk to us about cash flow analysis, because they're having trouble with cash flow. And so I grabbed these templates just this morning off there. There's a million different ones, but that's kind of a summary of what a cash flow analysis
You
would
can
look
keep
like.
that.
You
wanna
can
keep
you can
that?
have
Oh,
it,
okay.
yeah.
So the big ones are this P&L statement, cash flow,
Right.
pretty much.
And then doing
lot
a,
of
doing
business
a revenue and sales forecast.
revenue and
you know,
sales. Okay.
Yeah. That, if you're gonna, I'm sorry.
I was in the trucking business. Essentially the same. You buy an asset, you generate revenue, and then you sell it and hopefully get a gain on sales.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially the same model that you're talking about. I mean, a house is bigger, but most trucks cost more than your houses.
The semi trucks you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, the truck and the actual trailer and stuff.
Right.
Okay.
And then we have to pay a driver, which you don't have to deal with, you don't have here. You get a passive revenue, you know, the expense you have to make sure they pay the bills.
It makes sense though, but you would buy the truck and the trailer as a business expense and then continue to push it forward.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
But whatever you put down, make it realistic,
Mm-hmm.
not fantastic, dreamy hallucination,
Okay,
because that's how a bank looks at it.
right.
The other thing I put together is a marketing plan. I'm gonna get a little summary for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't,
So I would have to really,
you have a good system for buying houses, but
Yeah.
at some point rental's a problem. The economy's pretty strong right now, so you're probably finding renters, if the economy flips, you start getting empty houses, and all of a sudden this thing starts crashing down fast.
The other thing people usually don't do or fail to do when they're planning this is to put a contingency into their plan. So, you know, it looks good, hey, I'm gonna sell this, I'm gonna acquire this number of properties, I'm gonna rent them out right away and all, blah, blah, blah. But then if that doesn't happen, you know, they get in trouble because they don't have enough cash coming in to cover the expenses, excuse me, to operate the business. Or something else happens, I don't know, home catches on fire and, you know, and all of a sudden you gotta file insurance claims and repair the home and all this and that. I mean, those types of things happen and you gotta plan for them as part of your contingency, your development plan.
Yeah, and have like different exit strategies and stuff.
Yeah, well, exit means you're getting out, but that's, you know.
Well, not necessarily like, you know, keep it for myself or sell it to other investors or just not buy the property at all, right?
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, as part of your forecast, make sure that you say, all right, you know what, this is best case scenario, but I'm gonna put a 10% or 15% contingency in here that says, you know what, if I don't have this money coming in, or this doesn't happen the way I thought it would happen,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I've got a cushion in there, built in.
Right, kind of preparing for vacancies and
Yeah,
stuff.
right.
If I were doing it for a trucking company, I would put down allowance for bad debt. we would just charge so much a month, every month.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a real expense until somebody has, until you have a bad debt. But that just keeps accruing into an account that you've put aside this money. It's not real cash, but,
No, right.
but you've expensed money to cover a bad debt. And then somebody walks on you and you can't find them. And typically when they do that, yeah, you probably have a deposit, but you're gonna get in there and find the house all messed up, and
Right.
that's the kind of person who walks on you.
Yeah, and getting an inspection and stuff. Yeah, so I think my goals for coming here and stuff is to make good systems and stuff for my brother's marketing,
Mhm.
buying and selling houses and stuff, but also getting all these financial documents in order too, and
Those are the
like
most
you were
important.
saying, get it prepared for a bank and everything.
Right. Yeah, whether you take it to a bank or not, it doesn't really matter. You still need those to operate the business and do it in a sound fashion. So,
Right.
Yeah.
But to grow to any substantial size, you're gonna need a bank, unless one of you is really wealthy.
Right.
I mean, Donald Trump's dad gave him $1 million loan. He discounts that.
I love it when people say that though, but $1 million in New York is like $100,000 here in Youngstown. So you can't. It's not. You
Well, I'm
can't.
sure
You can't say that.
He gave more than that. And then-
I mean, come on, we've all been to New York. I mean, that stuff is super expensive. It's just
Yeah.
it's just a different market.
Yeah.
It's a very,
Well,
very
it's a
different
time,
market.
too. So-
Exactly. it's just a different atmosphere essentially.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm assuming you don't have a father with $1 million sitting in the background saying, you'll cash in if you.
I do not, sir. I do not. I do not.
Well,
So that's why getting all these documents in shape and understanding of your profit and loss and your cash flow.
Mhm.
I just go see the movie Founder about Ray Kroc, who did McDonald's. It's a really good movie, but at one point in the history, he's building McDonald's all over the place. He's losing money. And he calls in this accountant and says, how can I be losing money? We're growing like this, but all the money's going to the franchisees or to the two McDonald brothers. He was getting like 1.4%. Wasn't enough to cover his cash flow, just paying himself and paying for the overhead.